Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we are getting into Tower of God, episode 11, and we are getting into the Administrator's Test, which means that things are about to get very intense. I'm just trying to mentally prepare myself to go through this again, but I did try to enjoy some of the comedic beats that we got in the last episode, enjoy Chibi Rock for all that he is worth, because the last few episodes of this season are gonna have a lot of intensity in them, and it's going to break my heart at the end. So let's just get into the episode, rip off the band-aid, because it's gonna be a lot. In 3, 2, 1, go. One of the last times we're gonna get to see the opener. I think part of the reason that it hits me so hard that everything's about to go topsy-turvy for Bomb is that he's legitimately so happy right now. Like, even with the sadder things happening with with Rachel being injured, even with all that, you can see that he has lit up so much as a person. Now that he knows Rachel is there, confirmed, he can talk to her, interact, he is so more at peace with himself. And I'm like, that just makes it hurt more, because I know what's gonna happen and continue to happen. My sweet cinnamon bun. It's fine though. We'll survive. Gosh, the symbolism of the light coming in after all of the darkness and rain and stuff with Bomb in the opener, and then he's talking about how Rachel is his light, and I'm just like, ugh. Yep, secret's out. Roll with the punches for that. Surprisingly well. I mean, luck does seem to be part of it. I'm so upset. The tension in my body. This is gorgeous, though. Kind of like stars. God. The trauma I have of that gosh dang bubble. He's so excited. Yep, he will. Look at that face. I mean, they're very cute. Well, that seems cryptic. I love though in this sense that we're really starting to get into the like ecosystem of the tower, and that like continues to be something that's built on. And I'm nerdy enough that I'm like, yeah, give me like biology and stuff. I mean, there is a certain look in the eyes. Easier said than done. Oh boy. Yep. This thing still tricks at my brain. You shouldn't trust all of them. Seems pointed though that we have the I trust my teammates, and then we have a the scene. Waiting and not hunting. Mm-hmm. Did he? Yup. Poor Evan. Just trying to do his job. You seem surprisingly chill about that, given the potential consequences. He does, doesn't he? That's what I'm just saying. I'm like, you can see how much happier Bob is that I'm like, yep. Probably the same reason you are. Mm-hmm. Which also just makes it hurt more. He is, isn't he? Gosh, they're so cute. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. With someone in its mouth. Yep. There's other points where I'm like, oh yeah, these characters were around, and I was like, oh no, those characters used to be around. The like serenity of where Bob and Rachel are, like the music and stillness and everything, compared to what else is going on. Yep. Gotta use those fighting skills. You keep talking about. That's one tactic. Oh, I love holding on that scene. The epic music cue too. But yeah, he's a lot of things. But like a natural born fighter is not one of them. Ooh, holding on that shot too is so good. Like the slowdown. Love the team up. Even with the shade being thrown. High stakes. I do think it's really interesting though to have Endorsi be like, I'll be your servant for life, when we've already had hints of her being like, the main reason I have her climbing the tower now is because of someone like Anak, right? Like having that possible connection with someone, and even with like Bomb and stuff, where it's that like found family that she never got to have, right? God, the symbolism of like the net being cast around them, literally, given all of the strings being pulled in the background. I'm anxious already. The fact that she's acting so nice to him too, and like old times, I'm like, you're manipulative. uh, it's probably fine. Speak up, girl. The sibling energy between Endorsi and Nanak is amazing, though. Yeah. So excited. It is. Mm-hmm. A ranker probably could. So many things happening. Hello. Gross. Mm-hmm. If the bull is here, where is Anak? Mm-hmm. Yup. Yup. There are some layers to what's going on. The fact that it uh has the close up on like the Green April and there's still a mark of Jihad on it is like so interesting too. Restraint. He gets better. Oh. Jeez, yeah, I remember that. Anak from a less emotional place. I like how she's like in charge of the pillow so that he'll do what she says. Uh, Patience is not his strong suit. He gets better though. Huts? love how Rock just scoops him up. What an awful creature. Hmm, not just, but that's part of it. We're getting rid of a lot of things, in theory, in this particular test. And herein lies the shifting moment for when Endorsi became best girl. Ugh. I hate it so much. There's literally so much happening in this part of the story, but so many things that are so important to setting up characters going forward. I feel like Endorsi's story is so interesting. I definitely had a bit of a soft spot for her earlier on just because of her personality, her charisma. She brings a certain energy to the story, but this is really the moment when she shows what she's capable of. And I was saying before about how I find it interesting that the bet between her and Anak is if Anak wins, I'll be your servant for life or whatever. And I think that's a very interesting line to come from her because we already know that Endorsi is partly going up the tower because of Anak. She wants to be around her, help her out, have that connection, that found family. So saying, oh, I'll do anything for you is something that Endorsi is already geared to do anyway. And we get that set up to this point where she's faced with a choice. Is she a princess of Jihad? Is she going to do her job as a princess and take this weapon and take out an enemy of the king? Is that what she's going to do? Or is she going to side with found family? And we get to see her make that decision and go through the process of making a sacrifice that is not in line with what she's used to, right? We've had so much set up with her character of her saying, I know what it means to have to give stuff up and to give up people and to not trust people and to do the difficult, awful thing, to be the monster in order to survive. And we get to see this point in her character where she chooses not to do that, not to be the monster, not to be told what to do and manipulated, to not just be a showpiece for someone else, but to make a decision because she's her own individual person. And I just think that's so interesting that we get to see that, especially since so much of her up to this point, she's been fighting with kicks and stuff, which is very much like with her shoes or with her heels. So that has been such a focal point of her fighting style. And then we get this shift where she is given a different weapon and using that in a different way. There's so many different things that I love about this moment for her, and lots of with the other characters too, as they start to make decisions and show us their true colors and what that means. And even the conversation between like Kun and Shibisu of them figuring out why they're doing this and how it's very similar and how similar they are between each other, and having that moment they're like, you're actually a good person between the two of them. I think is the moment of them legitimately becoming friends, not just in they signed the friendship sheet thing or it's advantageous for them to help each other out and strategize together, but in this point it's them actually being like, I actually enjoy your company and who you are and want to be friends on a deeper level than that, and that gets carried forward. But I find it interesting that like we don't, at least where I'm at in the webtoon, I don't know a lot about Shibisu, and like having the conversation of I want to help Bomb because he has something that's important to him, he hasn't lost something like the rest of us have, like the most important thing. I'm like, I don't know what Shibisu was like before the tower yet. No one tell me in the comments. I'll get there. But I forgot that I'm like, I don't know why he's here or what he's going for, because again, he has such a strong outward persona that is not entirely who he is deep down, that I don't actually know that much about who he is outside of what we've seen in the webtoon. And he's definitely had his scarier moments where he's done some things, said some things where I'm like, wow, Shibi's kind of scary going into season 2 stuff. It just has reignited that curiosity for me of finding out more about him and like why he ended up in the tower in the first place, and kind of what that backstory is. What did he lose? Interesting to be reminded of some of the threads that I haven't gotten to yet as I work through more of the webtoon. But I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this place to go to my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so next time I post a Tower of God video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.